Brought to you by River State Government, the treasure base of the nation.
Hello and welcome to River State, Nigeria's second largest economic powerhouse and home to Africa's biggest liquefied gas center and fastest growing free trade zone. I'm Keisha Gitari, and in today's episode we're taking a look at the River State 2012 fiscal policy to find out just how much of an impact it had within the last 1 year. We'll also be delving into the 2013 budget and finding out what we can expect from it once it is signed into law. Stay tuned for more Eye on Rivers. In 2012, River State set out to spend 438 billion naira, that's about $2.7 billion, on the continued development of several key sectors. The aim of the 2012 appropriation law was to make the state an investment haven and business destination of choice by remaining turgid in projects and high on the capital side. The 45-year-old state, which currently posts a GDP of about $30 billion, has, through the administration of Governor Chibuike Amechi, steadily achieved its goal of becoming Nigeria's first megacity south of Niger, outside of Lagos, to create an economy beyond oil through a focus on the growing agriculture sector. In October 2007, at the beginning of Governor Amechi's administration, the state unveiled its biggest budget proposal to date. The government planned to spend 554.5 billion naira in 2008, 80% of which was allocated to capital projects. Since then, the capital side has remained over 70%, except in 2011, when the new minimum wage was introduced and the budget vote for capital expenditure dropped to 65%.
For 2012, I think we came up with a budget of 438 billion, and somebody will say that that's huge. But what is peculiar with this state? We have a couple of issues that we need to catch up with very fast. Infrastructural development, we think will take a whole lot of attention. We had issues with crime in time past, and we think that it is important that we begin to engage our youth in a manner that they'll be productive. And so education was key. And so if you have an educated mind, chances are that you'll be able to take them off crime. Precisely that. So we went for education, and not necessarily in providing infrastructure, but you need to look at the content. The issue of curriculum becomes very clear. So what will take our attention? Education is key. Now, create jobs for the youth so that you take them off crime. So agriculture was another route that we think as a government we could take in getting our youth attention off crime. And I think that will add up to what would have informed why agriculture got what it did last year, and education. We began implementation maybe towards the end of the first quarter, and we were able to, by the end of December, we were able to do about 78%. And if you score 78% in an exam, that's an A+ grade. And I think the budget achieved what it was meant to achieve. Though we would think that we still have room for improvement, which is why you know that when you check from this angle, there are a few gaps. You want to block them, and that's why we have issues with not only will you budget, you need to also look at the issue of evaluation. You need to look at the issue of monitoring. Now, to help us in that, as a ministry, we decided to deploy a software that will help us with the whole gamut of budget process, from the planning stage all through where you get out the data for analysis, and probably get it up to the Executive Council for presentation, which finally is approved as a proposal to the House of Assembly. Now, then, when that is done with and you get it signed into law, the next stage is for us to have a basket, whereby you will say from first quarter, this is what project you have, and this is how much it's going to cost you. Now, on the click of the button, His Excellency can, at every point in time, know we're done with this project. This is how far we've gone on this project, and we think that the issue of monitoring and evaluating progress so far made on budget implementation becomes very key if we can drive that based on ICT. And so we have a software that has helped us tremendously in concluding the 2013 budget. We said this year we may not sign on new projects, not so many of those new projects. The intention of government is to ensure that every ongoing project is completed, be it monorail, be it M10, M1, because as a government we are trying to decongest the city. Can we have a road that will take us from UTC straight to the airport? That's the M1 road. We will commence that this year. As a government, we think too that decongesting the city is key. So the Greater Port Harcourt project is on. We need to open up Greater Port Harcourt so as to connect airport straight to the seaport, Oni seaport, and that's M10. And clearly, this government will not intend to leave any project abandoned. And like His Excellency has said, we're on course, we'll finish.
The past 5 years has seen a boost in businesses and investments linked to the heavy construction activities taking place in the state, and this has boosted the state's tax revenues. Indeed, internally, the state's generated revenue rose to 5 billion naira monthly as a result of the rising revenues from taxes. However, the state benchmark for crude oil, which was put at $70 per barrel, increasing capital inflow and project execution have taken their toll on the regular revenue capabilities of the state, and the need for more capital windows such as loans and bonds has become evident. As a result, the state is raising 100 billion naira from the bond market to finance capital projects. Although it initially faced opposition in some quarters, the floating of the Rivers State bond means that the much-needed financing will soon be available.
We hope that we could finish the bond issuing process by the first quarter of 2013. As you are aware, this had been in process from the middle of 2011 when the governor came to office. The idea of raising a bond had been in the pipeline, but on winning the election and coming to office, it kind of assumed a different dimension, much more heightened level of interest because we needed the funds. If you go around, you see a lot of infrastructure investments, and we thought we should tap the capital market to get additional resources to complete the infrastructure project. So right now it's been ongoing, and we hope that we can complete that hopefully before the end of the first quarter. Like we've tried to explain all the time, it's not a matter of going into debt, or it's not a matter of bond or bank loans, but it's a question of what the quality of debt you're going into. Does it truly align with your financial ratios? At the end of the day, if you can use debt, bonds, bank loans to accelerate your infrastructure investments and your development process, then it makes a lot of sense. Now, you're not going to ask a layman on the street, should we borrow or shouldn't we? The answer might be, don't. In reality, the world over, you know that borrowing external resources from your own sources has become a proven source of driving development and fast-tracking your investment. As long as it aligns with your cash flow, as long as it aligns with your financial ratios, and I'm sure you're aware that we are the only state that has international dual credit rating. And so, we keep our eyes on our bottom line. And as long as we do that, I don't think that there's any problem with borrowing. But, you always have the opposition voice their sentiments about borrowing. Lagos State has issued bond 3 times, and each time is 6- and 7-year tenor bond. So we don't see why Rivers State cannot issue bonds for 5 years and try to fast-track investments in infrastructure and then pay off before the end of the tenure of the current administration.
The 2012 appropriation law was dubbed the Budget for Resource Utilization, with the aim of shifting the focus of the budget implementation from resource commitments to monitoring the actual deliverables expected from the MDAs, which included completing ongoing projects in critical sectors such as education, health, agriculture, power, works, environment, water, and housing. To To this effect, 71.5 billion naira was allocated to the education sector, with the aim of completing the construction of 500 out of the 750 planned schools, relocating the University of Science and Technology, and employing foreign expatriates to raise the 24 Educom colleges to international standards. To achieve this, each college has been allocated 800 million naira per year. The environment received a greater focus in the 2012 budget. 27.9 billion naira was allocated to address flooding, build drainages, maintenance, and the beautification of the Garden City. The state's megacity project, which includes the construction of 30,000 housing units and a university campus, has created the second most jobs after the agriculture sector, which employs approximately 10,000 people. The healthcare sector was to receive increased facilities and manpower with an allocation of 21.49 billion naira. The state aimed to sustain its HIV and child immunization program and equip the 160 new healthcare centers and begin the construction of a 250-bed maternal healthcare hospital. Having accomplished much of its 2012 agenda, the 2013 budget will make provisions for the completion of 3 secondary healthcare facilities to meet the state's growing needs.
The governor has opened the windows of employment now for medical manpower, and we're advertising, chasing, coercing to attract manpower into our state. And by that, we have so far increased our medical doctor manpower level for over 200 doctors to the system. We have recently, just at the end of the year, gotten another approval for another 200 doctors. There is a very critical approval we got last year, and that is to lift the embargo of employment of nurses. That is very acute and critical, nurses. All the nurses we have in our School of Nurses are on graduation, have automatic employment into the school. And those that we are heeded to for about 10, 15 years before we came in, that we are floating unemployed, we looked for them and gave them employment. And we have now decided to build a college of nursing, a brand new college of nursing. That's the site you are seeing there on my screen I was looking at. And that will graduate, is a school for about 400 students, and we believe that we will graduate at least 100 doctors, nurses per annum from that college of nursing once it's finished. Those are one of our plans in this year 2013, and like I told you before, we have not done much in the secondary care sector, and this year we have in the budget 3 secondary care facilities to be built and furnished at Bori, Ahoda, and Degema in the first instance before we go to the other zonal hospitals. So those are the things that are new in this year. But this year we are going to face more on development of manpower, more on quantity, but a little bit more on quality.
No assessment of a state's budgetary performance would be complete without hearing from the various stakeholders. Join us after the break, where we take to the streets to meet with River State citizens to find out how they feel their government performed in the last 1 year, as well as delving deeper into various critical sectors like power and agriculture.